Hey everyone, Oda here, bringing you a little instruction video, I guess you could say. I've noticed that people have been having a lot of trouble with understanding the lingo when I say 236 or 2K or something of that nature. And this video is just solely to show you how this lingo became about and to help you guys. It's going to simply be, in this first part, it's probably going to be movement as well as inputs and so on and so forth. And a couple of other things, and then if you need more help, or if you want to see how button inputs and, button combos like 236B or full combos and so on and so forth will actually be, if you actually want to see it, let me know in the comments. Sorry I screwed that up. But basically, the way it works is if you have a number pad on your laptop or your computer, keyboard, whatever, or even your cell phone, works with a cell phone, the number or the direction that the input is supposed to be is exactly as that number pad is. Now, if we can get Nightmare out of the way, Astroth, can you help me with this? You're going to see a number pad here. And thank you, by the way, for that, Astroth. Oh, shut up, you wanted to help. Anyway, what's going to end up happening is it's going to show you just how this works. As you can see, oh, hang on, there we go. Alright, as you can see, ignore the inputs at the bottom. I have a web D-pad, so I'm going to get random inputs. But as you can see, 1 is down back diagonal, 2 is just simply down, 3 is down forward, and 4 is back, 5 is neutral. When you're just standing still, 5 is neutral. 6 is forward, 7 is up back diagonal, 8 is up, and 9 is up forward diagonal. There you go. So what's going to end up happening here... Oh, that's not what I wanted. What's going to end up happening here is I'm going to show you just simple little button inputs and button combinations here, like 2K. It's just down and B. Now what's going to end up happening here is I'm going to have the number pad on Astroth's legs right about here. I'm going to have his legs here, and then I'm going to have a controller of probably Xbox, just because. And it's going to show you just the different numbers, just the different letters, and how it works, okay? Now, what's going to end up happening here is A is the X or square button, if you're on PS3. A is the X and square button. B is the Y triangle button. K is the B circle button. And guard is the A X button. So, there you go. It just goes in a straight line. A, B, K, G. That's all that happens. It's not even that bad. It's not that complicated. When you see a Brave Edge, now this is just default controls, it's right trigger or R2. So, whichever your preference. I personally, on the PlayStation controller, I kind of just switch it to where L1 and R1 are, just for the, more precision, because the triggers on that are designed to actually take a little bit more depression, so I just kind of prefer it that way. Now, what's going to end up happening here is I'm going to reset this, and I'm going to show you a couple of inputs. Now, if you're a Street Fighter player, you already know some of these inputs. That should look very familiar. That's your Hadouken. Oh, wait, hang on. There's your Tatsu. Essentially what they're called is 236, 214. That's all it is. You just roll your thumb down forward, and then back forward. And that's it. So if you hear somebody say, as Pira, do 236B, you want to do that plus your Y or triangle button. Simple. Now, if you're hearing somebody say 4A, they want you to do back square. That's all it is. If you're hearing somebody say 214, like 214A, you should know this. If you're a fan of my channel, you know it's Air Austin. That's what it is. So, if you go into your command list here, where is it? Move list, here we go. You got 6AA, 4A, 4B, and 6K. Here's what they look like. There you go. There's that. Here's 6K. Here's 4K, 4B, and 6B. So, it's not as complicated as it sounds. It just sounds complicated because you're using numbers and the actual button terminology. It took me a couple of months to get, so don't worry if you're getting flustered or anything of that nature. It's not that big of a deal. You just have to simply look at this number pad and understand that that's how it is. So if it's like somebody's doing this a lot. They're just nipping at your heels. It's 2Ks. It's very dirty, and it's very good, because usually 2Ks are safe. But what it is it's just your low kick. What else we got here? When you hear somebody say, especially me, when I say I should have 8B'd, that's what that is. It's basically essentially just a jump in. Now, of course, you know, vary on character, you know, you get different properties and so on and so forth. But with Astaroth, this is pretty solid. I mean, that's his 8K. I don't think we need to use that. So, if you hear somebody saying 6-6A, it's just really 4 forward square. See? That's all that 6-6A is. 4-4A and 1A. So that's all it really is. It's not so complicated as is just you have to actually try and learn the button inputs. Now, what's going to end up happening here is I'm going to do a C, which is essentially the super for Street Fighter or whatever else. You know, it kind of carried over. It's simply 236, 236, right trigger. See? There's your super. It's essentially the same thing. And then that's it. Those are the basics of it. Now, if you guys have a question on how to... what that dark arrow is, that means that you held it. If you hold it after the end input, it'll turn black. That's pretty much what it is. So if you're trying to figure out what the hell that is as well, it's just you held the button. That's all there is. And there you go. But that's pretty much all there is to it, to the actual understanding of Soulcalibur lingo. Now, this can carry over to other fighting games, such as BlazBlue and so on and so forth, because no matter what you're dealing with, even on a 2D playing field, you might not use, you know, 7, 8, 9, unless you're using somebody like Vega, I believe, who has like a 9 input, you know, or something of that nature. Basically, all there is 236, 214, especially in games like Killer Instinct. So, what'll end up happening is, if you think in a terminology that helps you in fighting games, it'll help you throughout everything. Believe me, it helps. Especially when you're dealing with, especially when you're dealing with complex inputs, like 63219, or 6329, which essentially looks like this. That's what it looks like. So, you know, you gotta find a fighting game that you're comfortable with in order to understand it. This is just to help you with Soulcalibur in general, give you a visual representation, and so on and so forth, because, believe it or not, it does work a lot better if you actually have something of that nature. Now, if you want me to go over some sort of combos, or if you have a question at what a certain input looks like, let me know in the comments, and I will gladly show you in another video. But for right now, this is where I'm going to end it, so that way it's a short tutorial and everything else explaining everything. I hope you all enjoyed this, and I hope to see you in the next video. And if you enjoyed this, and if it helped you, please let me know, because I love being able to know that I've helped people. Makes me feel good, and it means that my videos are actually doing what they're intended. Take care, everyone, and be safe. Later. Also, I'm gonna end it off on a 3B, because 3B is godly. See ya!